Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to take a look at the 15 new colors from Supervision. 15, that's a lot. These are all layered or granulating colors. They've been coming out with all these interesting colors for the past few years, and I think this is my favorite collection of colors because a lot of them are using much more stable pigments than the first ones they came out with. So these are a lot of fun. They're nice for backgrounds. They're good in really juicy washes, and I'm going to tell you about them and you can decide whether it's something that you might want to add to your collection or not. And I actually did finish a painting with them. I used them kind of in the background, and I mean, they just have a lot of character. I think I should have had a little more water here so they could flow a little bit more, but yeah, let's jump in and have a look. So this is a swatch, and the reason I put them in threes is because when you buy them on Amazon, they come in a set of three. And so these three come together, these three come together, these three come together, these three come together, and these three come together. And they're about $26 a set of three. So a little over $8 a tube. They're not the most expensive, they're not the cheapest. So it's, you know, you got to decide whether that's worth it to you. And this is the size of the tubes. And on the tube, there is a swatch on there. So let's say this is 1744. And let's just compare that to our swatch there. So, I mean, it gives you a fairly good idea of what you're going to get in the tube, but I would recommend that you swatch them out. Do a nice, large, juicy swatch so you can see really what you're going to get. You might even want it to be bigger than this with a little bit more water so that it can flow and split out a little bit. What you could do would be like take some tags or some larger pieces, like bookmark size pieces of paper, and just, you know, put them on a key ring and just have like a really big swatch so you can approximate what you're going to get in like a big background. But I'm keeping them in the boxes because it keeps them nice and organized, and then on the end of the boxes it tells you what colors are in there. And also on the tube you do have your pigment information. So like this one uses PR3, PV15, and PY3. Has transparency, which is semi-transparent, which you're going to get with most of these granulating colors because sedimentary colors don't seep into the paper. They float on top of the paper in a wash. That's how they separate out, and then they just land on the surface of the paper. So colors that are sedimentary, like yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, a lot of your earth tones, cadmiums, they're going to sit on top of the paper. And your colors that are staining, such as your super transparent, like your phthalos and quinacridones, their color molecules are so fine they seep into the paper and stain the paper. So they get these effects by mixing some staining pigments and some granulating pigments or sedimentary pigments, and that's how you get these pretty effects. And this is just swatched out on some inexpensive paper from Walmart. Actually, it's just the bee inspired paper, but I did also swatch this out on some cotton just so you'll be able to see the difference. And generally I find that paper with a lot of sizing and rougher paper give me a better result with these types of granulating colors. So you get all your pigment information right on the tube. It says light fastness 4 stars, but it doesn't really say what it correlates with, and I would highly go by what the pigment information is to base your own light fast comfort on. So I'm going to put this right back in here where I pulled it out of. 15 ml tubes for about $8. You know, that's not a bad price. So let's take a look at these. So in our first collection, you would get Spring Bud, which is a combination of PB36, which is a cobalt green or cobalt green deep, depending on what variation they use, and PY1, which is a yellow that is not the most light fast. So there's a color that is probably going to fade out and shift a little bit more blue, just, you know, exposed to direct sunlight. Generally, you don't see PY1 in professional paints. That's often in student grade paints for like a lemon yellow. Then we have Midnight Moon, which is a combination of PG50, PB36, and PR122. And PR122 can fade over time. It's a quinacridone-based red, I believe, and it just, you know, just loses its oomph after a while, so this may just shift a little bit more blue over the years. Lotus Leaf, PG7 and PB29, so that's like a phthalo green and a ultramarine blue. There should be really no change in that color. And PG50 is, I think it's like a cobalt turquoise color. Then we've got PG7 and PB15, so this is the next set of 3 that you could get if you wanted to. It's called Green Violet, and it's got PG7, which is your phthalo green, plus PV15, which is ultramarine violet, I believe. And ultramarine violet is a nice granulating, almost pinkish purple, very opaque. And then Red Navy, which is PR3, which is kind of like a naphthol red. It's not the best, not the worst. You know, as far as lightfast goes, you usually don't see it in professional paints these days, unless it's in I think unless it's in like an oil or an acrylic where they have a little bit more of a robust binder. So the red might fade out of this a little bit faster than the blue. Blue is PB36. A lot of these colors have PB36, which is your cobalt green. Well, PB36, it's like cobalt green deep would be the color. It's still technically a blue pigment. It looks a lot like cerulean, but just a little bit more green leaning and a little bit duller in color, rather than ceruleans can be a little bit brighter. But, you know, there's so much variation between brands, even that use the same colors, that use the same pigment, they can still be treated differently, ground differently, and have a different color, like a slightly different color from one another. PV19 is a good example because it can be a red all the way to a purple, you know, so it just depends on how it's processed. And then we have gold brown, which is a combination of PY3, which would be your Hansa yellow, and jasper, which is a mineral. And that's another thing I see in these colors that I haven't seen before in the supervision colors, is the addition of jasper, which gives you an actual gritty feeling to your fingers even. So this would be really fun to do if you did mixed media and use colored pencils on top, because then you'd actually get a little bit of grit for your colored pencils from these. And then we have another color with jasper here, which is PV23 in jasper, purple brown. It uses dioxazine violet and jasper, shouldn't change. And I was going to say that color looks good. That color may have the red fade out a bit. That color looks good. This color shouldn't change. This color PB17 in jasper. It's a like a phthalo turquoise, sometimes called peacock blue, with the jasper, and the jasper really stands out here because it settles out, and then the blue stains the paper, so that's a really pretty effect, I think. And then we have the Rubia Indigo, which is PB36, PR146, and PV15. PR146, gosh, I'm not 100% sure on that one. Let me really quickly look it up, and then we can have a look. I'm thinking that also might be a naphthol red. Let me just see, 146. I'm on the Color of Art Pigment database. It's a really good one. It's pretty up to date. And it has a lot of those weird ones that you don't see on handprint because they're not always used in art. That's got a light fastness rating of 2 to 3, so it would be good to fair. So yeah, that must be, that would probably eventually, what was I pointing at? That one. That would probably eventually, the red would kind of ease out of it, so you might have some going more towards blue and purple with that one as well. West Lake, which is PV23 and PB36. Nothing should change on that one. That should stay nice and vibrant. Red Violet, PR3, PV15, and PY43. PY3. Your red would be the most likely thing to fade here. I mean, you could always mix in a little extra red, one that you trust a little bit more if you want to. Or honestly, I think if you're going to do that, you'd be better off just to make your own. You could use the recipes, use those pigment recipes. It might not granulate as much, like if your, PB36 was ground more finely. I'm having the hardest time talking today. If it was ground more finely than what they're using at Supervision, but you would get a very similar effect, especially with lots of water on rough paper. So you can go on the Amazon listing and see what the pigments are, and then decide whether you want to try mixing it yourself or you want to buy something as convenience already made. Devil Kiss is PV19 plus Jasper. And I think the Jasper colors are actually probably some of the most interesting. Not that they're the most granulating, but the fact that they were able to get the mineral ground down finely enough to be able to disperse in the paint, because I had no separation in any of these colors, which oftentimes with a mineral color and a heavily granulating color, you'll get that little bit of binder separation, and I didn't get any binder separation here. Now granted, I didn't let them sit around. I got them in the mail. They're a fairly new product, so there shouldn't be any binder separation, but there was another paint brand I was trying, and there was, every tube had binder separation, and it was really frustrating, and I've been giving a lot of feedback to the brand on that one. But anyway, this one, the last set of 3 here, and that color there shouldn't be anything that goes wrong with that color. Rubia Purple, PB36 again, PR3, and PV15. You know, honestly, if you're really curious about these colors, you might just want to pick up a tube of PB36. And Mission Gold is a nice one. This is a swatch of that. It was actually in the new set of 24 pure pigment colors, and I just swatched it out today. It doesn't seem to be super granulating, but it does have some granulation to it, and that's what PB36 looks like, in case you're curious. PR3 and PV15. So again, the red might fade out of this quicker than the others. Blue Orange, PB36 again, and PO13. PO13 is not a very light fast color. You often see it in student grade sets. You see it a lot in the sets out of Korea, like the Mungyo and brands made by palettes that use Mungyo paints. They have that PO13 a lot, and also student grade paints that come out of China. Even the good student grade ones, a lot of times they use that color. You see it a lot in gouache. It's iffy. It's iffy at best. And then finally, so we got 2 colors that may change here, and then here, actually PR122 could change as well. I've heard that that one fades out of Moonglow, I believe. Kim Crick did a whole thing on the previous set of 10 supervision colors, and also on super granulating colors in general and mixing your own and stuff. So I would highly recommend checking out Kimberly Crick's YouTube channel and blog. She has so much information. She's a pigment guru, and she's forgotten more than I'll ever know, I'm sure. And here we have Blue Violet, which is a combination of, again, PB36, PV23, which is, as we know, dioxazine violet, and PR122. So yeah, PB36 is, and Jasper is kind of something unique to this set that I've seen. I'll compare it. We can see it with these are the original 10 granulating supervision tubes that you could get on Amazon. I think they're around $76. So they were a little cheaper per tube, but they definitely had some really intense dyes or inks in there that gave you those separations. And the problems with this set that I was seeing from others, and my friend Rosie shared some with me, and she shared them squirted out and dried, so I didn't have any issues with them, and I still re-wet them and have no issues. I swatched this today, in fact. But the fact is, I guess if you leave them in the tubes too long of this original set of 10, that things can change in the red can just completely evaporate, which would just leave you with either PB35 or PB36, whichever one they use there. So that's kind of a problem. You can see kind of how vibrant some of these colors are. They do seem to be a little artificial or fluorescent almost underneath. And the disclosure of pigments on that set was not great. So I can't really tell you with full accuracy what's in them. These are the sets I just showed you that I swatched out. And these down here are some of the Rock Plus Mica colors that, to be honest, I think were a little underwhelming. I did a quick video. I haven't posted it yet, and honestly, I don't even know if it's worth posting, but I was pretty disappointed because they're really pretty wet, although they feel a little weak. But then as it dries and the mica kind of rises to the top, it overtakes everything, so you lose a lot of the pretty granulation from the pigments, and you just kind of get glaring mica over the top. So I didn't love those, but I only had one set to try, and I know there's like 4 or 5, so maybe there's better results with different sets. I had the Mermaid Coast, but you know, if your results are different and you love those, let me know. Let me know what your experiences with these paints have been, but I'm really enjoying this set of 15 here. I think these are really fun, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing with them. So I got this idea from another YouTuber, Becca Hilburn, who has the channel Natto Soup, and she is a comic book artist. And she does these tiny little illustrations on these tiny little cute round watercolor papers of her comic book character, and then she does the background. And I have this coloring book from Altenew, which is for card makers. It's these small little coloring pages on 50% cotton watercolor paper, and they've got the Altenew stamp designs like printed out on them already with waterproof ink. And so I thought, you know, I like to, it's fun to kind of sit and paint or color these, and I thought it'd be really fun to do the backgrounds with the super granulating paints, and that way we'd be able to see a good swatch of what they look like in a real-time scenario, or in a real-life scenario. So let me show you what I used for each of these backgrounds, and then I'll show you what colors they were on the swatches in case you're curious on how like 2 or 3 colors would look together. So this one here uses 1738, which is that one, and 1744, which is that one. And you can see when you add more water, you get a lot more of the color separation. I got a marker on my fingers, and don't pay attention to that. So you do get a little bit more variation when you use more water. So I would definitely recommend using more water. This next one is 1742 and 1740. Where's 1740? Oh my gosh, there's not that many numbers. I swatched them out so they would be with the sets they come in. It's with that one right there. So you can see the brown jasper there. You could feel it with your fingers too. The PB36 on through there, the red kind of leaching out when I had more water. So I kind of wish I used more water and just let it do its thing and was more patient, because they don't look like this when you first paint them. You have to wait. They do this on their own. So you gotta set it and forget it. You can stir the paint up a little bit and add more water if you don't think you're getting much of an effect, but you gotta let it sit, and then it does stuff like this. But having some extra water for it to leach into will make the dyes, or the, I don't want to say dyes, but I mean staining colors. It will let the staining colors like the quinacridones seep out more and break apart and give you that contrast that you need for the effect. But I thought that was really pretty. This one, I probably should have done it where I used all 3 colors from each set. That would have probably made more sense, but I was just going for what I thought would look good with the with these colors. Missed opportunity, guys, sorry. This one I used 1748 and 1739. It's really hard to tell what colors you use, because when the colors start to split apart, they can look completely different than your swatches. This one used 1751 and 1749. So that's that one. And 17, that one right there. I like that one. That's really pretty. I like them all, but they do get kind of samey. So I mean, you might not want to order all of them, and you might want to look at like what colors are more stable and pick and choose. Or if you have certain colors at home already, you might want to avoid ones that use pigments you have, and that way you can just make your own. This one uses 3. Let's see. You can see this one wasn't as strong, but I could see that it's got the jasper in there. So this is 1746. 1752. Where are you hiding? 1752. Right there. That's got there's where the jasper came from. And 1747. Let's see. Where is that? Right there. I was trying to use every color, make sure I used every color at least in one of them. And this one, you can really see the jasper, the browns in here. I think that's really pretty. I loved how they separated here. I think this is going to be pretty. And I went right over the greenery, because I'll go over that with colored pencil, and that's really going to grab to those jasper particles too and let me have a good color payout with my colored pencils. So 1742 right there, and 1740 right there. That's a really unique one. And I bet you can get these open stock if you're, if you look on AliExpress. It seems like they sell those open stock. I haven't seen these in any major like art supply retailer in the United States. So it's pretty much been in sets on Amazon, or you have to go to AliExpress and buy them open stock or in sets. And I think you can get a set, because the artist I mentioned and recommended, Becca Hilburn, she reviewed these colors, but she had them all in a set from AliExpress. So that's an option. You don't really save any money. I think it's still around $8 a tube. So, it just, what's more convenient for you, I guess, and if you want the pretty box it comes in. So this one is 1741 and 1745 and 1741. So that's kind of an interesting combination. And last but not least, we have 1750, which is Lordy, right there. And 1743, which is right there. So I think these will be really fun to color. I put them in a little pouch here, so I'll just stick them in my travel art bag. So that way if I have to wait at a doctor's office or I'm stuck waiting for something, I'll have something to do. I can work on them and then I'll make cards with them. But there you can see what I'm going to use them for. Here's a couple other swatches to share. This one is on 100% cotton Hahnemühle Cezanne paper. So here I did I just wet the whole area and I dripped in all the colors. And that's kind of interesting. Obviously it dried out a little quicker there and I didn't see the granulation from the really green one. And then this I actually I swatched each color just like I did here, but I let the colors touch and bleed together. And yeah, this is a cold press, but it's not super textured. The results are okay. They're not super exciting. More water, more excitement. So it just dilutes the color though, but you do get, I think, more bang for your buck if you add more water. Plus your paints will go further. And then this one here is on an old Viva sketchbook that's 100% cotton, very rough, not heavily sized though, but I still got a lot of really wonderful separation because of the roughness. So if you have any of that handmade Indian watercolor paper, that would work really well. But you can see gorgeous. And I just kind of swatched each color and let them bleed together. I didn't go in any particular order, but I think that's really kind of fun. That would be fun just to do like a white ink drawing on top of maybe just do an outline, like a blind contour or just a contour, continuous line. It would be good for a continuous line drawing on top in like a really opaque white ink, I think. So it'd be like a marker or whatnot. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that for Inktober. I don't know. Don't get your hopes up. We'll see. But there you have it. I'm enjoying these. One thing I will say about the Supervision paints, they've all re-wet really well for me. They're fun. They're kind of novel. But, you know, it just depends on really what you like and what you want to invest and like what your comfort level is as far as fugitivity and light fastness and stuff. So I wanted to be completely open about that. Also, I want to completely be open with you and let you know that the same company that represents and distributes Paul Rubens products in the United States also distributes these, and they sent these to me for a review, so I did not buy them. And I am an Amazon affiliate, so those are affiliate links in there. So just so you know, it doesn't cost you any more, but I would earn a small commission if you purchased from them. Please do not feel obligated if these are not for you. I just want to get the information out there, and I am so happy I can do that affordably. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up if you like my reviews, and until next time, happy crafting.